Father John recently returned from having spent 9 years in China. That's why he requested that I only use his first name.
Father John is what I was known as in China. That's what they called me, Father John. I want to go back to China, obviously.
Father John was sent by Maryknoll brothers to teach English in a university. He didn't dare think he would be able to preach the gospel in China, which is against the law for foreigners there. But the Holy Spirit intervened.
Because of the grace of God, I was able to celebrate Mass on Sundays in the local chapel for the international community. We had a thriving community. Our church was filled, was packed with people.
The Masses Father John celebrated in English brought throngs of local Chinese, along with the expatriate community. Worship in that church was openly permitted, but also closely monitored by the Chinese government.
One of the things that they certainly were very, very concerned about was our relationship to the native people, to Chinese. I mean, as long as you worked with foreigners, being a foreigner, that was good. The problem was when you started dealing with native people, having an influence, direct influence on young people. As long as you stayed away from that, you were considered a good person, no problem. But the more the relationship that you had, with the Chinese people, the more suspect you became. One of the things that you had to do was to make sure everything you did was in the open. This is one of the things in the gospel you understand when Jesus says, everything I've done openly. Ask the people what I have said and what I have done. And that's really true. I never, ever did anything behind closed doors. Everything was open. Anybody could come. I never, ever, ever criticized the government in all my years there. I talked about the gospel and its application to life. Absolutely, that was clear. But to talk about, quote, government officials and things like that, I mean, that's not the reason I was in China for. I was in there to preach the gospel.
I asked Father John for his perspective about the Chinese government's recent demolitions of churches.
Some of the churches that are being demolished today are being demolished because it's prime real estate. And so they have to get rid of them. And so they use every pretext in the world. Others are being taken down, and it's true, you hear the commentary all the time, because in some areas, the Christian church has grown, and overwhelmingly so. And the numbers of believers now surpasses by 2 or 3 times the numbers of people, at least on the list of the Communist Party. So it is seen, belief in Jesus is seen as a real threat to the continuation of the governing class.
So do you feel that you and possibly people you know here in Flushing are being observed and monitored by the Chinese government?
I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind about the ability and the organization structure of the Chinese government to watch their people. I mean, their work is really precise. I found them to be much more thorough, much more professional than here in the United States. I mean, they knew what was going on. You're talking about organizationalism, there's nothing like it. Are they here? Absolutely. Who are they? I don't know. Wow. But we are the biggest Chinese community in the United States, and this is a growing community here. And so if they're not here, then they're fools, and they're not fools.
In our next encounter with Father John, we'll learn more about his ministry to Chinese people here in Flushing, and the miracle of how he was given state permission to celebrate Mass in China. Reporting for Currents, I'm Konrad Aderer.